Alright, what about atrazine? It kills monocot plants like most weeds, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, it also increases levels of aromatase, which is involved in the conversion of testosterone into estrogen. At levels of less than 1 part per billion, it causes endocrine disruption in frogs, which can make male frogs sterile, or worse, turn them into fully reproductive females. Have you ever seen a testicle that ovulates? I have. It is horrifying. This can really screw up their sex ratios and cause population-wide reproductive failure. It also suppresses the immune system, causing massive sepsis. I will let you in on something. Frogs are not supposed to contract bacterial meningitis. This happens at concentrations orders of magnitude below what the Environmental Protection Agency considers safe for long-term exposure in our drinking water, and atrazine can travel for hundreds of miles in rain clouds.
That is... wow. What does it do to people? You said it is an endocrine disruptor. Human and amphibian hormones are basically the same.
Well, humans cannot be experimentally manipulated, but in lab rats it has been linked to miscarriages, low sperm count, reproductive cancers and other illnesses.
Why is it not banned?
It is in Europe. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency is a clusterfuck. Industries provide the data from tests to the EPA. Can you see the conflict of interest? They can skew the results however they want, and have a strong financial incentive to do so. In fact, if one were to run a fish-as exact test comparing how the funding source affects the results of tests, said person will find that studies funded by Syngenta, which is the company that makes the pesticide, almost universally support atrazine's safety and have even been found to contain deliberately false and misleading information. Studies done by independent scientists by and large have better designs, do not contain false or misleading information, and generally with a few exceptions find that atrazine is not safe for frogs or anything else. This is a problem with corporate-funded science in general. A scientist under contract has a financial incentive to give a company the results it wants so that contracts will be renewed. Everyone likes repeat business. As a result, a thumb is put on the scales. Data gets fabricated, and study designs are poor. Independent scientists have no such motivation.
What about Roundup, the stuff put in almost every yard fertilizer?
Well, the first thing you need to remember is that Roundup itself is not toxic to amphibians. The surfactant that it uses to help it enter weeds is. The agency does not actually regulate inactive ingredients like surfactants in pesticides. The surfactant simply causes direct mortality in amphibians. Monsanto, the manufacturer, points out that the pesticide is not supposed to be used in wetlands. However, many amphibians breed in temporary pools, like the ones formed by rain and irrigation in agricultural fields.
Do I even want to know about malathion?
Probably not, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Malathion is an insecticide, but really it is just as toxic to zooplankton. There is a combined effect. The zooplankton dies, so the floating algae blooms, causing the shading of the filamentous algae many tadpoles feed on, and salamander larvae also prey on the zooplankton. So, the food source is gone. In addition, it also suppresses the amphibian immune system, making them more susceptible to nematode and trematode parasites. The breakdown product is also directly toxic to amphibians, far more so than the original compound. There are also synergistic effects of all of these pesticides and others acting in concert. Higher lethality than you would otherwise expect, reduced size at metamorphosis, increased development time, and inability to respond to predators. This further increases tadpole mortality rate and causes recruitment failure in amphibian populations.
Can the use of pesticides be geographically restricted or applied more safely?
That might work. However, even if there are no amphibians where pesticides are applied, they can be carried by the wind. In California, frogs are declining due to BD, but also because pesticides are carried by the wind into mountain habitats hundreds of miles away, contaminating the water there, killing them directly, and making it easier for BD to infect them. The leeward side of the mountains is demonstrably protected from the effects, because the mountains are shielding them from the pesticide-contaminated wind.
So, what you are telling me is that amphibians are doomed.
Most of them, yes. However, some species probably will not be going anywhere. Bullfrogs, most leopard frogs, a few tree frogs, some of the more resilient salamanders. Most of the losses are in the tropics or are species with geographically restricted ranges and specialized habitat requirements. Even an asteroid the size of Mount Everest did not wipe out all of amphibians, and nothing we have done so far has equated to a 100-potaton asteroid impact. On an evolutionary timescale, the loss of a third of all amphibians is a drop in the bucket. Immediately, however, it is a shame. Not only do the amphibians have intrinsic worth, they are living beings and do not deserve to die, but they are also very useful. They serve as the canary in the coal mine for the environment because of their sensitive skin and biphasic life cycle. What hurts them probably hurts an entire ecosystem. They also control pest insect populations and have compounds in their skin which have already shown promise in medicine. The more amphibians that are extinct, the fewer chances we have to find medically useful substances in their skin.
Is anything being done?
Of course. Captive breeding projects, protection of their habitat, and population monitoring programs. The scientific community has also galvanized, trying to find ways of either curing BD in the field or inoculating frog populations with survivors from infected areas. It is hoped that survivors possess novel mutations which will confer resistance to their offspring. They are also working out how some species are resistant. Still, the combined problems are daunting, and it is very difficult to get people and policymakers to help frogs through regulation and habitat protection. There is hope left. Just not much.